When it comes to defending DUI cases, it is essential to hire a dedicated DUI attorney. Not every criminal defense attorney is also a DUI attorney. So when it comes to defending DUI cases, we're talking about blood results, so chemical testing. We're talking about scientific evidence. We're talking about standardized field sobriety testing. The nuances of DUI law. There's 24 Qs during phase 1, 28 Qs during the personal contact phase in phase 2. So there's so much additional evidence that the state has to gather to prove a DUI that if you're not a dedicated DUI attorney that knows the nuances of the law and the nuances of a DUI investigation, you're not going to have a true DUI defense. And that is even more so true when we look at drug DUI cases as opposed to alcohol cases. So then we're also looking at toxicology reports and the fact that there's therapeutic ranges of drugs. So when we look at blood results in drug DUI cases, for example, there's no 0.08 BAC limit such as alcohol or a specific amount of any individual drug that automatically means that you are impaired. There are levels that we look at called therapeutic ranges that essentially means that someone who is taking that prescribed medication or who has taken that illegal drug may or may not be impaired if it's within a certain range. So that is the first major difference between drug cases and alcohol cases in DUI. The other big difference is when it comes to the training of the police officer. So every police officer is trained before they go out on the roads on basic field sobriety testing. Every attorney in my office has gone through that exact same training that the officers went through, passed the exact same tests, both through doing the field sobriety test and a written test as well. But then when we go to drug cases, we're talking about ARIDE and DRE, Advanced Roadside Impaired Driving Enforcement, and drug recognition experts. There are very few drug recognition experts out on the roads, and those are the officers who are doing a lot more of an investigation to prove drug impairment. So there are 7 different drug classifications. We're thinking of things like stimulants and depressants. Everyone knows that stimulants and depressants are way different, but the effects on the human body are a lot different as well. And so if an officer is seeing certain clues of impairment, whether it be pinpoint pupils or dilated pupils, but then the toxicology report comes back with a drug that causes the exact opposite effect on the eye or an opposite effect on the human body, it's not going to help the DUI prosecutor and the officer prove their case of DUI. And so that is why it is essential in drug cases to look at every little detail. And the fact that the drug prosecutor and the drug officer, if they're not a DRE officer, they don't check the vitals, for example. So it comes down to even things like your blood pressure, your pulse rate. Things like that are affected by different drugs in the human body. And so officers have abilities to test that, see how your eyes react to it's called a dark room evaluation, where they can have you close your eyes, open them, and see how your pupil reacts to the light. Things like that are what drug recognition experts are trained to do, but normal police officers are not trained to do. That is why drug DUI cases are even more nuanced than DUIs involving alcohol. Why you need a DUI attorney who knows the law, who knows the investigations to defend you on these type of cases. Other differences when we talk about drug DUI cases versus alcohol cases involve, again, the effects of all 7 drug classifications on the human body. So when we're looking at, what effect does it have? And even field sobriety testing is completely different. So standardized field sobriety testing are standardized only for alcohol. They are not standardized tests for drug cases. There are different field sobriety tests that are involved when we talk about drug DUIs. So we're looking at the modified Romberg. Officers have you tilt your head back, close your eyes, count to what you think is 30 seconds. It checks the internal clock. And so if you're on a stimulant, for example, you're gonna be less than 25 seconds because you're racing, you're going fast. If it's the depressant or marijuana, THC, you're gonna be a lot slower. You're gonna be longer than 35 seconds. There's the finger to nose test where they're going to have you touch the tip of your finger to the tip of your nose. And they're going to say left, right, right, left, things like that. There's another test, lack of convergence. They're going to see if your eyes are able to converge. So follow their finger, have it go towards your nose, and see if your eyes converge. Tests like that are technically to determine drug impairment. But again, most officers are not actually trained on how to do those tests. Those tests, unlike the standardized tests, don't have a specific amount of clues. So for example, standardized field sobriety tests, 4 out of 6 on the HGN, 2 out of 8 on the walk and turn, 2 out of 4 on the one leg stand is technically not performing as instructed. On those 3 tests for drug DUIs that I just explained, there are no indicators of how many clues means that a person is impaired. And so there are a lot more defenses available when it comes to drug DUIs, all the way from the effects on the human body, field sobriety testing, all the way through blood results. So it is imperative that you hire a DUI attorney that knows the law, knows how to look at investigations, and knows how to defend these types of cases.